Okay, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Wednesday, New Year's Eve edition of Morning Scone presented by, Brock. It's going to be scrolling. I don't know what happened. My overlay is gone. I don't know. But anyway, Brock, you all know Brock. Brock. Parish Construction Roofing, need an orthopedist. Go to Brock, need a roof, call Parish. Unique Physique, uniquephysique.com. Restored Motions, restoredmotions.com. Bocock Brothers, On Fire Athletes. Everything's scrolling right here. Linked in the description on YouTube, all that good stuff. All right. Good morning, everybody. Great news. I was able to confirm this morning Harlem Barry returning to LSU for his sophomore year in 2026. Done deal. Attorney looking over contracts, but Barry expected to sign that deal to stay at LSU. That deal is expected to be signed today, Wednesday, on New Year's Eve. So Happy New Year. Harlem Barry returning to LSU. Done deal, which is awesome. So desperately needed to maintain depth in that running back room. And obviously, you've already lost Caleb Jackson, Jawan Johnson, announcing their intention to enter the portal. Caden Durham certainly could follow Frank Wilson to Ole Miss. We'll see what happens there. Still, obviously, the opportunity potentially to add Kwan Lacey. But keeping Harlem Barry in the fold, massive. Also, the interesting story, I know, so over at LouisianaSports.net, I broke that this morning about Barry, but Pete Nakos this morning had the story about James Cregg. If you haven't seen that yet, that's a wild one. So, and this is one that I'm not surprised that Cregg is rejoining. It's just a weird situation how this all unfolded, because so remember, James Cregg was the LSU offensive line coach under Ed Ogeron, and Cregg and Ogeron and Kiffin all worked together at Southern Cal. Well, Cregg basically became the fall guy for the impermissible contact during COVID. Remember, during COVID, you couldn't have on-campus visits. You could, well, anyway, like, apparently, remember Tristan Lee, he was a big offensive lineman, ended up going to Clemson. He got some, like, shirts and stuff like that, and he took a visit. Some recruits organized a visit on their own to come to LSU. And anyway, they got some swag or something while they were here. And so Cregg ended up being the fall guy. He didn't do anything. So he got fired for cause. Well, he filed a lawsuit against LSU for wrongful termination, and he won. So it's a little odd that he'd be rehired, but again, it goes to show you how LSU is giving Lane Kiffin whatever he wants. So you want to rehire a coach that we fired and sued us and won a lawsuit against us? You want us to rehire him? Come on, sure we will. Now, Craig's a great offensive line coach. NFL experience, major college experience. So I guess he'll work with Eric Wolford with the LSU offensive line. But busy day so far. Okay, please smash the like button, subscribe. And do y'all remember, by the way? Y'all remember on Christmas Day, if y'all were here? Y'all remember if y'all were here on Christmas Day when I asked y'all how you'd feel about Kiffin if he attended the Sugar Bowl, and then how you'd feel if he attended it with a certain high-ranking public official? Y'all remember that? If y'all were here for that? You remember that? You know, back on Christmas, 6 days ago? Oh, if you don't remember, here you go. Do you think it would be a good idea for Lane Kiffin to go to the Sugar Bowl between Ole Miss and Georgia on New Year's Day? Now, what if I told you there's a high-ranking public official who is the one that is inviting him and wants him to attend with him, because the governor took a lot of very negative publicity with everything that happened in the last couple of months? He's trying to saddle up to Lane to take credit for the hire and get some goodwill back on his side. And I think that would be a very negatively received thing. How's Christmas Day? Well, Ross Dellinger, great reporter, good friend too, reported yesterday about Jeff Landry and Lane Kiffin going to the Sugar Bowl together. All you have to do is listen to Morning Scone. You'd had that 6 days ago. Anyway, all right, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, Facebook, like the page, share the post. Thanks for being there. Let's say some good mornings. Hey, Thomas, good morning. Jinglegate Day 18. Let's go. Chance, getting Cregg back adds to the bizarre nature of everything going on. Sorry we fired you. Sorry I sued you. Yep. Hunter, good morning. Happy New Year. Great start for LSU. Question, has Drew been watching videos of Chris Berman? Whoops. I don't know what that's from, man. Whoop. I don't know why he does that. Christian, Lacey and Barry in lead backfield. That would be awesome. Does Drew listen to Mike D? I don't think so. I don't think he's found Mike D yet. Hey, morning. Awesome about Barry. When will the NCAA give definitive ruling on Chambliss? This has to complicate things. Yeah, I mean, I don't think you go hard press after a quarterback until you know if Chambliss is available. You're back in November when Chambliss filed for the waiver. He said he expected to have, finality on that within a week or two, and now still waiting. So I don't know. The NCAA goes at its own pace. Let's go. Morning. Did you watch USC TCU last night? It was on TV, but I wasn't locked into it. Lemon cookies, unfortunately, regrettably, Thomas, no lemon cookies. Hey, Kelly Gross, good morning. Brad, how long do you usually wait after waking up to do your cold plunge? Oh, it's like immediate, man. Like I wake up, I get out of bed, I walk into the kitchen. What? Whoops. I prep all my stuff for my morning protocol, like my supplements, my peptides and my BPC, my NAD plus, my perfect aminos, my Baja Gold sea salt, get everything prepped, and then I go get the cold plunge, and then I come back in, and then I take all my supplements. Whoops. Last of the year. Hey, Kenny, good morning. Question about voidable years on a contract. I understand how it benefits team. How does it benefit the player sign a contract with voidable years on it? They get their money up front. So really, that's just a mechanism that teams use to be able to spread the money, the cap hit, over multiple years. But the player gets their money up front, so they don't really care how the team manipulates it for the cap. They want their money. Oh, sorry, just that one. Chef, Education, take the shot. Cade, what's up, Matt? Got our RB1 or 2. Remains to be seen what happens with Kawan Lacey. But I've told y'all, and I've said it on the record, and I've said the number, and I'll continue to say the number, that Ole Miss offered him 1.8. I am completely confident reporting that number. So if LSU is going to get Kawan Lacey, they're going to pay him 1.9, $2 million, something like that. Eric Wolford will be the full-time offensive line coach. Aaron, good morning. Billy, busy. Billy. So woke up, was coming in here to finish a story that we have up at Louisiana Sports on Net, which I hope you'll read, actually. We did the top stories. I thought this was a good exercise to do. The top stories, top Louisiana sports stories for 2025. Did the top 10. So I'm going to post it in here. Hope y'all will check it out and tell us if you liked it, what we missed. But so I was putting the finishing touches on that, and that's when I got the call about Harlem Barry. And so then it was like, pivot, get the Harlem Barry story done. Then we also had someone come into our house because our home automation stuff, the TV and all that stuff was out of whack. And so someone was here, as I'm sitting there trying to write the Harlem Barry story. So then I finished that story. I'm about to do a podcast because I have a Locked On podcast about Harlem Barry up live now. And then the James Cregg stuff breaks. And so, yes, it's been a busy morning, to say the least. Roll Tide 99, Happy New Year. Hope 2026 is good to you and your family. Thanks. Same to you and yours. Very much appreciated. Reed Rule, Happy New Year. Thank you. William, when does the transfer portal close? The 16th? It's the 2nd through the 16th, or the 2nd through the 15th? 16th? I think it's the 16th. 2nd through the 16th. Whoops. Period. Yeah, 2 weeks. 2nd through the 16th. Period. Whoops. There's Drew. Hit the like button. Iowa scored, huh? On Vandy. Kevin, good morning. Coach Ken, what's good? Good morning. Bubba, good morning. Good morning. Enjoy this day we were given. Amen to that. Enjoy every day we're given. Beautiful. It's cold, but beautiful and sunshiny outside. Gorgeous. Sean, Kiffin will make Barry a problem for the rest of the SEC. Great choice by Barry. Michael, good morning. Happy New Year. Just wanted to say we appreciate the hard work over the holidays. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate you being here. If y'all weren't here, I wouldn't be here. Seriously, I wouldn't just be sitting here talking to myself. So thank y'all for being here. Cody, Happy New Year from somewhere in Arkansas. Drive to Hot Springs for the holiday. Okay. Let's see. Morning, Matt. You make by far the best LSU content. Thank you. Very kind of you. I appreciate that greatly. Thank you for the compliment. Pegasus, Happy New Year, Matt. Should we expect a bunch of announcements or random through the next couple of weeks? What's the text line you talk about? Yeah, so I have a text line. It's an app called Community. I pay for it. And it's not cheap, but it's an app on my phone. And it allows people to text me and me to text. So like whenever, for example, the Harlem Barry story broke, the first thing I did when I wrote that story, before I shared it on Twitter or anywhere, the first thing I did is I sent it to all my people on my text line. And so then people can text me back and yada, 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 yada. So it's a good way to use for interaction on the show. And then obviously like it helps me because I can share links to things I want y'all to see or read or watch or stuff like that, or like Parish, you know. By the way, please allow me a brief moment. One of our major initiatives for Parish in 2026 is New Orleans. We have an office in New Orleans. We have one of our partners, Joe Morales, lives in River Ridge. So we have boots on. We're in New Orleans, and really want to drive business in New Orleans in 2026. So if you live in New Orleans, know someone who lives in New Orleans, please let them know Parish is in New Orleans. We do commercial, residential, repairs, replacements, gutters, soft wash, all of it. And we have an office in New Orleans. So like a physical office there as well. So Baton Rouge is obviously our home base. We've done great here, but our huge focus for expansion in 2026 is 504. So would really appreciate it if you'd help us spread the word in NOLA. Let's see. Hey, Brandon, good morning. Sal, good morning. Happy Lane said he's going to change his recruiting strategy from heavy portal to high school. That's not what he's going to do. He was asked that question on the broadcast, which was a leading question, and that's not at all what he's like. Actions speak louder than words. He just signed 14 high school players, and he's going to go sign 30 in the portal. He ain't changing nothing. Whoops. Over under 2.5 years Golding at Ole Miss. Go see mommy. Go put on your backpack. Hey, go see mommy. Put on your backpack. We are going to go to Keith and Danae house later. Whoops. Whoops. I'll go over 2.5 on Golding, but I'll go under 4. Eric, good morning. Happy New Year. Rocco, Happy New Year. Abner, good morning. Happy New Year. Dwayne, are NIL deals paid in a lump sum or weekly? Not weekly. Most are paid. Most are structured where you might get a lump sum at signing, kind of like a signing bonus, and then you get monthly installments. Some I have heard are by the semester. So you get, if you have like an annual deal, like you'll get chunk of it at the fall semester, chunk of it at the spring semester. And that also incentivizes student athletes to stay, to get the full amount of their payment. Sorry, just did that one. Good move for a Barry, not Barry. Barry. Hopefully they'll use him how Lane used Reggie. I would love to see that, man. Or how Lane used Quan Lacey this year. Barry back is great news. Brian Arsenault, good morning. Depression, let's see, it could be more equal, but in high school it'll be quality versus quantity. Yes. It will, like, again, the days of LSU signing 30 high school, that's not what they're going to do. I'll say it again. You got to reframe your mind in the way you think about building a roster. Had a former LSU football player text me yesterday, like worrying about the numbers, because of because you're allowed now 105 scholarship players, and just if you look at the numbers in, numbers out, they're not going to be close to 105. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. You don't need 105. I told you this. LSU played 35 players took a snap on offense. 45 took a snap on defense. That's 80. And by the way, that's not like a ton of snaps. That's, for example, including on offense, that's including someone like Malachi Lane, who took 1 snap, Jack Pyburn, who had 3 offensive snaps, Ethan Callaway, 3 offensive snaps, Teron Francis, 3 offensive snaps, Philip Wright, 3 offensive snaps, Kylan Billiot, 7 offensive snaps. So like, if you look at players that had at least 100 snaps, you had 22 players on offense that took at least 100 snaps. How about defense? Players that had at least 100 snaps on defense were 21. So 45 players, it's kind of like an NFL roster. Kiffin should tamper the Sugar Bowl. Pepperidge Farm members? Drew. Hey, David, Ryan, Lowell, Ryan, good morning. What up, Colson? Craig's our best hire from Ole Miss. Our offensive line has improved already without even knowing who will get out of the portal. I agree on Wolford and Cregg, man. I love Wolford coming from Kentucky because I've had conversations, and James Craig's a very good offensive line coach. I've had convos with people at Kentucky. And this is a weird thing how I got this connection to Kentucky as well. Like, I don't even. Sometimes it's just being in the ecosystem. But the way Mark Stoops, I know he's not there anymore, but Stoops during his time at Kentucky knew they would never get high 4- and 5-star guys, especially like on the line of scrimmage. So they were looking for a specific skill set, and then how they went through their strength and conditioning program, they built like big, strong, powerful dudes that became like 20, 21, 22-year-old big, strong, powerful dudes that they have on the offensive line. And you can look at the guys that have gone to the NFL, from Darian Kennard to guys like Landon Young, Luke Fortner, who's with the Saints right now. Like, they have put guys into the NFL draft on the offensive line because they had their very specific way that they were developing players at that position, being pretty good at it. So I'm interested to see what tack that may take. Jacob, what up? Colson, good morning. Drew. Love the shout outs for Drew. Okay, sorry, y'all are talking to each other. Great content. Where do I get the hoodie? Hang on, I'll post the hoodie link. So that's at Guarantee. We've got our merch store. It's 929 Misfits. Hang on, I'll post it. Got there's multiple colors too. There's like white, gold, purple. The t-shirts, there's more colors of the t-shirt of this too. There's like the heather purple. Yeah, that's sort of like lighter purple, not that deep royal purple. But anyway, check it out. Trip, what about Durham? Do you think he stays? If you made me get, and I'm being very candid with you. I do not know. Like, I do not have, like, I know Harlem Barry's returning. I broke that news this morning. He's back. I do not know about Durham. So I'm giving you a guess. My guess is I think they will get Kawan Lacey because they're going to prioritize it and pay him. And then I think Caden Durham will leave. And I think the most likely landing spot for Durham would be following Frank to Ole Miss. Maybe Landry wants to help Lane scout some of the Ole Miss and Georgia players. More Matt, have update if Witt is staying. No. I did just record, though, a Locked on LSU before I came on here about Harlem Barry, and I told you the 5 players that I'm told that they are prioritizing. One of them is Barry, who's staying. And this is no particular order. Braylon Moore, DJ Pickett, Trey'Dez Green, Whit Weeks. So those are the 5 that they are hard pressing to stay. So he's very much on their list. Do you see the report of Sorsby to LSU? I did not. Twitter? I haven't looked at it, but I'll tell you. I don't see anything on here. There's one guy named Bobby Burton, a Texas Longhorn YouTube channel, saying that. I'll say again what I have said about quarterbacks in the beginning. They should be talking to every quarterback. All of them. All of them. You have to play politics sometimes, and not in the Landry camp. If I was Kiffin, I'd rather have him on my side than not. No. You're missing the point. Kiffin is... Oh, I don't want to talk about this anymore. Okay, this is the bottom line. You see the editorial the governor wrote last week when he said, I had to get involved. Don't hate the player, hate the game. I did what I had to do. Don't hate the player, hate the game. The governor wants to take credit for hiring Lane Kiffin. And I've heard mixed things to what degree his involvement was. He has gotten so much negative publicity since that Wednesday when he said his stuff about Woodward and whatever, that he is trying to saddle up to Lane to get credit for that to gain goodwill. And I'm here to tell you, people are not going to buy that story. But he wants credit. And he's trying to gain goodwill. And I don't think it's going to work. I think this is going to backfire with the two of them going to because it's going to be all Ole Miss and Georgia people. They're all going to boo. They're going to boo him mercilessly. Like, it's going to be bad. Bad. Tomorrow night. Or are you going to stream all day Friday? Friday, y'all, so you want to talk about poor planning. Friday morning at 8:30 a.m., Erica and I are going to be on a flight to Las Vegas. So I will be buying the Wi-Fi and the texting and all that sort of stuff, and I will be working on the flight because I have a feeling Friday is going to be, well, not the word that was told me by an LSU admin was explosive. So just very poor planning on our part to do this trip on the day the portal opens. So I'll be in Las Vegas. But something that is worth mentioning, portal players can't visit campuses until Monday the 5th. So I think you will have, there are deals that are already done and they'll be announced starting Friday and whatever. But ones that want to take visits, that won't start until Monday the 5th. So I think you'll have waves. Like, in NFL free agency where you have like free agency, you have the legal tampering period, free agency opens, and boom. And as soon as free agency opens, Schefter, Rappaport, boom, 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 boom. And then when that first wave of free agents signs, it settles, and then you reassess the market, and then you have the second wave. I think that's what starts on that Monday the 5th. How many bags of ice you use when you first started cold plunging? So it depends on, so it would go by 20-pound bags of ice, and it depends on how much water you have, right? Because how much water you have determines how much ice you would need to cool the water. So like when I was using the bathtub and dumping ice in the bathtub, like when I'd fill up the tub, a 20-pound bag of ice would get me like 3 to 5 degrees of cooling. So if I use 2 20-pound bags of ice, that would give me like 10 degrees cooling. So if the water temp was 75 and I put 2 20-pound bags of ice, that would get me down to like 65. So I would need like 4 20-pound bags to get down to like 55. It's a lot. Good morning. You think Soares would be a good option at quarterback? Yes, I do. I think there's lots of good options at quarterback in the portal. All aboard the Lane train. Jared, good morning. Where do we get the hoodie? Yeah, I just posted that. I'll post it again. 929misfits.com. I'll post the link in the chat. Good stuff there. Check it out. Deuce Knight. I love Deuce Knight. 5-star freshman at Auburn. Started 1 game against Mercer. Set the record with 6 touchdowns accounted for, 2 passing, 4 rushing. Physical freak. That would be phenomenal. I think they'll probably go after, however, somebody with more starting experience. Hello from MTN Home, Arkansas. Love the show. Look forward to a great year. Go LSU from Ruston. Okay, awesome. Happy New Year. Y'all be safe too. Does a player give back upfront money if they transfer? So there are some deals where if the duration of the contract isn't honored, they have to refund. Well, let me rephrase this. That's more high school NIL. So, for example, you pay a high school player, the collective pays a high school player, high school NIL, they commit. Ultimately, they decide to sign elsewhere. They do have to refund that money. This player, Randall, James, Christian. Why bring in the other offensive line guy? Remember, there's no limit to the number of staffers you can have. So you get basically 2 offensive line coaches. Great. Tyrone, tuning in from Shreveport. Thank you, man. Thanks for being up there in the 318. Clayton, good morning. Happy New Year. Randall, good morning. Justin, good morning. How'd you feel about the Saints drafting Mansour Delane? I'd be over the moon. We'll see where they're picking. As of right now, the Saints would have the if the draft happened today, the Saints would be picking 8th. So Raiders, Giants, Cardinals, Jets, Titans, Commanders, Browns, Saints. Would Mansour Delane be on the board at 8? And if he is, you take him, great. I want corner, receiver, pass rusher with the first pick. One of those 3. And if Mansour Delane is on the board when the Saints pick and they take him, I'd be over the moon. Yep. Morning, Matt. What should we expect Friday? A lot of commits. Visit talk. What is the text line you talk about? Yeah, so I just talked about the text line. Someone asked about it. So if you want the text line, it's 225-396 225-396-4400 is my text line. So when you first text, you'll get an automated response. After that first automated response, everything after that is actually me, like my fat fingers and thumbs typing in a text to you. So somebody try it real quick if you're new or if you've done it before, whatever. see if survivor's remorse. Yo. And I'll text back, yo. Peyton Coleman. Hey, Matt. Hey, Peyton. See? So just as an FYI, it's an actual text line. They can't call it. It's just a text line. Adrian Bailey. Good morning. Trying text old. Gotcha. Thomas. I am clearly in favor of theophobia around the world, the fear of God. There you go, Thomas. Crystal Lambert. Hey, Matt. Hey, Crystal. So anyway, so y'all are texting. So by the way, Thomas, since you're there.
Parish Construction and Roofing. At Parish, we've got you covered. From the top of your roof, all the way down. Parish Construction and Roofing. Parish built. Parish built. Parish built. From your hometown. ParishBuilt.com.
Parish Construction and Roofing. Randall, Joe, Sean. Congrats, breaking the barriers to well deserved. Chance. As a person who likes to troll, I'm surprised you don't appreciate the ultimate in-person troll with Lane and the governor. I don't think Lane going to the Sugar Bowl is trolling. I think that's Lane wanting to be in the spotlight. And that's the governor wanting to be cool by association with Lane. That's not trolling. Lane Kiffin retweeting a guy with 89 followers who said that Harlem Barry was going to Ole Miss. That's trolling. And that's brilliant. And I do love that. I have a soft spot in my heart for Twitter trolls like Lane Kiffin. And me. Matt Bauer slowly turning to the right side. Ole Miss fans are Matt, if you missed it, so Lane Kiffin tweeted a photo of a Bentley at LSU football ops that he got on loan from Matt Bowers. So if you don't know who Matt Bowers is, Matt Bowers owns the auto dealerships, the Matt Bowers Auto Group in Louisiana. He's one of, if not the biggest auto dealer in the state. He's from New Orleans area, but went to Ole Miss. And he's an Ole Miss alum and booster and all that stuff. So, and this is pretty well known, and it became a big thing with Elijah Haven because Bowers did an NIL deal with Elijah Haven. So a lot of people assumed he's trying to get Elijah Haven to go to Ole Miss. Well, I don't actually look at it that way. So the reason Bowers loaned the vehicle, the Bentley, to Kiffin is for photo shoots and all with the recruits and everything like that. Lane Kiffin's not driving a Bentley. You see it all the time. Guys want to take pictures with cars and whatever. So Bowers loans him the deal. Well, Bowers has also done NIL deals with Trades Green and with some Saints players too. Tyler Shuck, Kamara. So a very sports-centric guy. But I look at that the same way I look at Marucci and Raising Cane's. See, this is one of the things that you have to be mindful of as a business owner. So let's look at Cane's. So Todd Graves is individually very generous to LSU. Todd Graves gives a lot to LSU. And Cane's does NIL deals with LSU athletes. However, Cane's does NIL deals with athletes everywhere because they have to, because they're in every market. They can't just be labeled as only giving money to LSU, or it could hurt the business in every other market. Same thing with Marucci. Like Marucci, I've had this conversation. Everyone just assumes, oh, why didn't Kurt and Marucci just give everything to, well, they want every baseball program in America swinging their bat. Well, if they're known as only funneling money and resources and NIL to LSU, why would other programs want to swing their bats? So they have to cater to every market there. And even if Kurt is individually philanthropic and generous toward LSU, like Marucci has to be more broad, if that makes sense. So same thing with Bowers. Matt Bowers can give money to Ole Miss, and he was a big booster over there. You read about it in Ross Ellinger's article, but his businesses are in Louisiana. So doing a deal with Trades Green is very smart because now he's like trying to sell cars, and he's got a very popular LSU athlete driving his car and doing deals, doing endorsements for him, right? So that's what that is. It's a smart business guy. Lane reposted your article on Harlem Barry. Good. Erica, don't say that out loud. Huh? Did he? I don't see it. I'm not saying he did, and I don't see it. I hope he did. Good. Maybe? Oh, he did. Sure did. That babe. Thank you, Lane. And thank you to all those who give attribution. And if you don't give attribution, you can kick rocks. Because I also broke the Amon Anon story a couple days ago about him going to Southern, and then the Advocate wrote about it, and the Advocate writer for Southern didn't give me attribution, even though I was a full day ahead of him. So I don't know who he is, what his name is, but he didn't give Louisiana Sports, or not me individually, Louisiana Sports.net. And so if you don't give attribution, you can kick rocks. It's literally the most ethical and easiest thing to do in our business. If someone broke the story, give them credit for breaking the story. Like, where did the story come from? Anyway. Do you think one of the reasons Barry didn't follow Frank is because he took him out of the game every time he messed up? No. And again, I don't even have to guess here. Like I'm telling you, like the firsthand conversations I had today is that Harlem Barry was like, I love Coach Frank, but I'm not leaving LSU. Like, I don't think this is the thing that's hard, that you can understand, you, us, we here, that a lot of people would struggle. And it's the advantage that you have being at LSU is there's a lot of guys that grow up just wanting to play for LSU. It really is that simple. You have some guys that just grow up wanting to play at LSU. So hang on. Here. This was, I had Harlem Barry on AFR when he committed. So the summer before his senior year at St. Martin. This was Harlem Barry on AFR the summer before, like when he committed to LSU, why he decided to commit.
I really had my mind made up. Like I've been wanting to go to LSU since I heard of LSU. So Leonard Fournette playing all them type of players. But once I really had my mind made up and was like, I saw what I wanted to see, I was like, yeah, this is where I need to be at. I just went with it, and I was like, I need to commit. So I had my senior season to myself. I don't have to worry about no recruiting visits, no coaches, this and that. So I just wanted to make that decision early.
No, you don't even need to take my word for it. Which show is live? This or Locked On? This is live. So when you look, I don't know if you see where it says. I don't know if you see where it says live in the corner. But so Locked On, I premiere Locked On YouTube. So you can set a YouTube video after you record it to premiere, so it airs for the first time in real time, and then subsequently anybody can go back and watch it, right? But I did set that to premiere, and then I went live here. So, and I know there's crossover with the two, but not exclusively. Seth, wouldn't want to follow a guy that takes me out when I fumble. How's he going to get better if he doesn't get coached up, put back in the game to improve? I mean, the explanation, and I did ask, the explanation for why by the way, I don't believe this. The explanation for why Harlem didn't go back into the game is they moved away from the running game because they were targeting. They found a mismatch and targeted one of the corners. I think it's number 16. It doesn't really matter, but and I rolled my eyes like you still ran the football. I mean, Durham and Johnson, and they thought Durham and Johnson were better in pass protection, which is why they went with Durham and Johnson instead of Harlem the rest of the way. Which, by the way, I am going to do a video on this if/when Kawan Lacey ends up at LSU. But one of the things that nobody talks about at all about Kawan Lacey, because his running has been so effective. His ability to block is one of his really highly noted traits. So, his ability to help in pass protection and run blocking is something that the Ole Miss coaches raved about. So, another reason to be optimistic about Lacey if you do get him. Peyton, sorry, a little late this morning. Got this question. News on Trades. No update on Trades. I mean, I've floated it a little bit, but what I can tell you about Trades is he's not going to give LSU a hometown discount, which he has done the last 2 years. He's going to maximize his earning potential. I think LSU's already put a couple of numbers in front of him that he has not accepted. And they're going to have to pay. And I'm told they are prioritizing him. The 5 players primarily they're prioritizing in no particular order: Barry, Pickett, Witt, Braylon Moore, Trades. PJ Woodland's on that list as well. There's a lot of guys they want to keep. But the 5 that they're really prioritizing are those 5 I just told you. And they're going to have to pay him. And I hope they do, because if they don't, I do think Trades would end up with Frank and Austin at Ole Miss. I think that's where he would go if he leaves. And I think the optics of that, aside from the on-field component, the optics of that would be atrocious. So I think they've got to pay him. Can you really take what he did in recruiting this year as what he's going to do every year if he didn't have time to recruit at LSU? Yes, because it's what he does it's what he has done at Ole Miss too. That's what he does. Lane Kiffin is the self-proclaimed portal king. He doesn't go recruit 30 high school players. He goes in his last 4 years at Ole Miss, portal numbers: 20, 23, 26, 30. He's about to go sign 30 dudes in the portal this year too. I think Harlem fumbled 4 times this year. He might have lost 2, but he fumbled against Bama, Tech, he fumbled against Bama, Western Kentucky. And then what's interesting here is they don't have him having fumbled. Oh, yeah, the scoop and score against Western Kentucky in the fourth quarter. So Bama, Western Kentucky, they don't have the fumble against Houston on PFF, which he fumbled against Houston. I think he fumbled against Tech too. I'm pretty sure he fumbled against Louisiana Tech. Anyway. Arizona Wildcats, #1, Gatos Locos Forever Homes. Okay. Love the energy. Went out to Arizona in 2003 when LSU played in Tucson. Had a great time at that game. LSU absolutely curb stomped Arizona. It was so funny, too, because they had this like strip of bars where the LSU fans were the Friday night before the game. And I remember we meeting these like soccer hooligans wearing Ramones t-shirts and whatnot. And they're like, hey, why are y'all here? We're here for the game. They're like, oh, no, U of A was playing. They thought we were talking about basketball. They couldn't fathom someone came to Tucson to watch a football game. It's hilarious. Abner, Matt, how do the agents get paid? Lump sum each year of the contract? Well, they get paid a percentage of the deal, right? So, and one of the things that is interesting about NIL and why you're seeing a lot of agents, even NFL agents, move into the NIL space is twofold. Number one, where you're capped at 3% in the NFL, you can charge whatever you want in NIL. So you're seeing 10 to 20% agent fees in NIL. And for a lot of the NFL agents, it makes sense because you get the kid on the front end in college, represent them, and then you're able to hopefully able to represent them throughout their pro deal as well. So they're paid a percentage of the contract when it's paid out. Good morning, Scone from DFW. Whiskey hunting today. Dallas Stars game tonight with the family. All right, Brett. Hey, man. There's a loyal listener named Ryan who lives in the Houston area, and he sends me on the text line his whiskey hunting scores, and I'm gonna tell you, the allocations haven't even made it to Baton Rouge yet. I think they all just stopped in Houston based on what he's got. It's been incredible. Let's see. Barry's too small to be used like Lacey. Kawan Lacey, 5'11", 200. Harlem Barry, 5'11", 190. Barry's a true freshman. Lacey's a sophomore. They're the same size, bro. The same size. Some of y'all don't think, bro. Big Mill, Chris, Randall, LSU Monsters lined up in the portal or what? Barry and Lacey, oh my. Love how you ended Whiskey and Wine Saturday. It's true, though. Fair warning, though, that if you do go back and watch Whiskey and Wine is, we do curse on Whiskey and Wine. So Morning Scone is totally family-friendly, G-rated, safe zone. So just be aware if you go watch it. Matt, you see RC said he texted Lane every day from the time BK got fired till he took the job. Yeah. Erica reminded me, I forgot this, but Kiffin was on the pivot last year. So they connected there. I need to get RC back on the show. I love RC. It's my guy, and been friends for a lot of years. I mean, more than a decade. And I know people have their opinions on RC, and because he's not afraid to give an opinion. And a lot of times people disagree with his opinions, and so you have an opinion on the man. I'm telling you, he's a great man, and I love him. But he's so busy during football season, I try not to bother him. Like, it's And I know if I called him 100% of the time, he would come on my show 100% of the time, because that's who he is. But I also am very aware of everything he does, from all of his ESPN obligations to the pivot to watching Jordan now play with the Jets, which is awesome too, by the way. But RC coached Harlem Barry with the Bootleggers. He obviously interviewed Lane Kiffin. Like this, I need to have RC back on the show. I just need to bother him and be like, hey, bro, all right, it's time. Where was all the money for NIL after Brian Kelly's first season when he led the team in the SEC championship game? You got to remember, it's a good question, H-Town Creole, but you got to remember, at that point, it was an evolution. Like, it wasn't. LSU was very slow. During that time, collectives hadn't even really come into play yet. It was a slow evolution. And I said it for many years, or for years during that time, like LSU was behind in fundraising for their collective and NIL. And people didn't like when I said it, but it was true. It was very true. But as a result, they had been very proactive and on the front end of this era of NIL, rev share, true third-party NIL, all that stuff. But that's the answer. Like, you had a lot of people who just weren't committed to paying for players and funding a collective and just, what are we getting out of it? And there was a lot of that. There was a lot of hesitancy. And only when you saw, like, it go the way it did in programs like SMU and Texas Tech and Ole Miss and the ones that were funding their collective and buying their roster have success. And then when LSU lost Underwood, that was the breaking point when everyone's like, all right, how much you need? Like, that's when it happened. And they dumped money into it last year and they just missed, Big Mill. Oh, there's all the Drew ones. Man, I am late. So I'm 30 minutes behind on comments. Still need Ocho on the show. What's the finder's fee for a big roofing job? We can absolutely discuss a finder's fee. Please contact me on my text line or matt@parishbuilt.com. More than happy to discuss a finder's fee for a big commercial job. Parishbuilt.com. Parishbuilt.com. Matt@parishbuilt.com. Toller, what up, dude? 1 year. How much eligibility is Lacey? No, Lacey's a sophomore. Lacey started his career at Missouri. He's only 19 years old. So he played 6 games at Missouri in 24, played this year at Ole Miss. So he's got 2 left. 2 years left. Sup? Hard to believe Barry's 190. Bro. Harlem Barry's 190. I find it hard to believe that Kwan Lacey's 200. Let's see, Matt. My cousin, Ole Miss guy, has been following the Ole Miss 24/7 guys for info. I've been following you. I've been right. He's been wrong about everything. Take a bow. Yeah. I don't know who the Ole Miss 24/7 guys are. Wait, no, is that? Are Neil and Chase with 24/7 now? Because they do a great job. Those are 2 Ole Miss guys that cover Ole Miss that I think do a great job. Neil McCready, yeah, and Chase Parham are 2 guys I think do a great job. I don't know the other people there. I think here's what I think happened with Ole Miss and why I was very right throughout the whole Kiffin thing, and they were not. Not all of them, by the way. The saying, there's 2 sides to every story. Well, whenever you're following a story like that, there's way more than 2 sides. There was the LSU component of it. There was the Ole Miss component of it. There was the Florida component of it. There was the Kiffin individual component of it. So then there's And within all of those, you have different people with different levels of insight and information because you have coaches and administrators and boosters and media people and players and players' families. And so there's a lot of different people. So all that to say, if you're an Ole Miss, if you're covering Ole Miss and you're trying to report on that story, and the only information you're getting is internally from Ole Miss, I'm telling you, Keith Carter, and this is why I was so critical of him. Keith Carter was convinced that he could get Lane Kiffin to stay. And I'm here to tell you that it was obvious, talking to all the different components, Lane Kiffin wasn't staying. So that's why, so if you're covering Ole Miss and you think you're doing a good job, you're talking to the AD or people around the AD's office, and you're convinced Lane Kiffin is staying, you're not getting the whole story. You're getting one piece of the story when there are many other sides of the story still to tell. Like when Lane Kiffin's putting his wife and children, or ex-wife and children and family, on a plane to go to Gainesville and Baton Rouge to explore those cities, like he's serious about leaving. When he's got members of his staff making calls, like, hell, I'll tell you this now. Pete Golding was the one making phone calls to members of the coaching community to gauge interest in who would come to Baton Rouge on Lane Kiffin's staff. Pete Golding was coming here. You can deny that all you want. Pete Golding was coming to LSU with Lane Kiffin. Only when, at the end of the situation, when Kiffin takes the job and Keith Carter realizes, that Saturday night, Keith Carter realizes he's really leaving. Well, by that point, they were screwed because Summerall was already going to Florida. Like, they could have pivoted to get in the mix for Golish, but they were going to have to go spend $10 million a year for Alex Golish. And they had people in there go, are you crazy? I'm not standing by for that. So instead, they promoted the popular assistant from within as a sort of a bridge. And maybe it works with Pete Golding, and maybe he stays there for a long time. Or maybe he goes belly up year one, and they can move on from him after year one. We'll see. But the point is, they were going to promote Joe Judge to coach the playoff, not Pete Golding. And Golding was coming with Lane. And so I'm we're just spewing now. But the point being, it's one of the reasons that I was right about the Lane Kiffin stuff all the way along. And a lot of people got it wrong. The Florida people were only talking to Florida people. The Ole Miss people, by and large, were only talking to Ole Miss people. I was talking to Florida and LSU and Ole Miss and boosters and admins and coaches and players families and agents, and you can put the whole thing together and so you start to look at, okay, what things are corroborating independent of each other? That's how you work a story like that. Who's telling independent of each other in all these different places? Who's saying the same thing? Well, that's how you can start to piece together a story and what's real and also what's not. I mean, when I get calls in the coaching and agent community that Pete Golding is making calls about gauging interest for coaches to join Lane Kiffin's staff in Baton Rouge, that's a real thing. That's not Lane Kiffin just aching to stay in Oxford. That's not Lane Kiffin's going to Florida. That's Pete Golding helping put together a staff for Baton Rouge. Anyway. All right. Please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, Facebook, like the page, share the post. Pay Trey Des Green. I'm with you, man. I don't want to see Trey Des go anywhere else. See, Robert, continue getting Barry and Durham confused. Durham is who gave Frank a hug after the Arkansas win. He's going with Frank. Robert, don't get it confused, man. The Barry family and Frank Wilson are very close. Very close. It's just that Harlem wants to play at LSU. And LSU made him a priority and took care of him. Again, like the convo I had this morning that confirmed Harlem is staying, he's signing his contract today and staying, was Billy Glasscock talked about the money. Kevin Smith talked about the running back room and how they'd utilize him. And the quote was, it lined up from the beginning of the conversation. It was never an issue. Meaning like they didn't go back and forth haggling over numbers. It was just, they made him a priority. They gave him a fair number. They made it make sense. And it was done. And then at that point, it was just getting the contract done. Because as I understand it, a lot of these deals now have clauses like you would in a professional, like where, sometimes you see like guys can't ride a motorcycle or can't go skiing or something like that. Dirt bikes, because you can't get injured. Like the last thing in the world you need is your starting quarterback going skiing in Vail and tears his ACL. Okay, so like that's in the contract. You can't do that. You do that, your contract's void. So like those types of things, that language are in these contracts. So that's some of the stuff that's worked out. But the number, as I understand it, and by the way, I was not told the number. If I had it, I'd tell you, but I was not told the number. But it was more than Harlem got as a freshman. So anyway. Barry, regarding TDG, Matt's telling us without telling us, we don't pay him, he's off doctrine. I don't know for certain that he would go to Ole Miss. I believe that would be the most likely scenario. And what I have said and alluded to is, and I've probably said more today than I have in the past, is that they put a couple of numbers in front of Trades already that he is not accepted. Meaning LSU. So they got to saddle up this year, man. He is, relative to what people of his ability have gotten, he has been underpaid for 2 years. And he ain't going to do it again. And I don't blame him. He shouldn't. Go maximize your earning potential. What's your answer to the top 5 rapper question? Great list. I may be 26. I love all 90s music. But my list, doesn't my list though also just speak to my era, right? Like I couldn't give you an opinion on Young Boy or anybody. Like to me, this era, it all sounds the same. Like, dude, when I would go work out at Traction and the guys are playing, you have a lot of like the current pro athletes that'd be working out and they'd have their playlist on, and it all sounds the same to me. And I understand every era has a certain sound. Like there's probably people who listen to grunge music and think Pearl Jam and Nirvana and STP and Soundgarden and Smashing Pumpkins, like they all sound the same. Like, so maybe that's just part of it. And then there's probably people from the 80s who love 80s hip hop, but anyway. Missed the days when we had a deep rotation. Fournette, Geis, Williams, Alfred Blue, Ford, Ware, Hilliard. Yeah, man. It's not going to be that way anymore because guys don't come and stay. Those days are going to be gone. Let's see. Lacey's there. Oh, we got an Ole Miss guy calling me a clown. Yep. Makes sense. The guy who's been right about everything from the beginning, right? I'm the clown. Okay. Let's go ahead. Let's write his name down. It's Daniel Maples. Let's write down Daniel Maples here. Let's write him down. Daniel Maples. Daniel. Let's see. Daniel Maples 904. Everybody write him down. Please write down his name. Morning Sconers. Let's remember him. So we'll see what happens here in the coming days. If Kawan Lacey does in fact say, by the way, Daniel, I haven't reported that Kawan Lacey is leaving. what I've said is Ole Miss has offered him $1.8 million, which I'm completely comfortable in saying that number. And that if LSU wants him, they're going to have to pay him 1.9 or 2. And I believe Ole Miss knows that is very likely going to happen, and they're trying to drive up the price on LSU to make them have to overpay for Kawan Lacey. But if you made me guess, now here's my opinion. Opinion, I do think Lacey will end up in Baton Rouge and Durham will end up in Oxford. This says taking a player out of the game for a fumble is coaching him up. Yeah, but never putting him back in is the problem. And by the way, if you look at what Harlem Barry did in previous games after his fumble, like for example, his bounce back ability was always impressive. So like, let's see. So when he fumbled against Bama, hang on. That was the Bauer Sharp fumble. Let's see. He fumbled. That was the. Where did he? They recovered the fumble. Okay. Is that it? No, that's weird. I'm not gonna say right. Anyway, I'll find it later. This season, like after his fumble or his negative plays, whatever, like his ability to bounce back and shake back is really impressive. I'll have to go find it. Don't worry, Lane was staying in Oxford too. How many sources are you losing from the old staff over under 3? I'd really have to sit here and think about it. I'm going to the Sugar Bowl, going to cheer Kiffin. Probably going to get bad looks. Are you going to the Sugar Bowl? Thanks for all you do. I am not going to the Sugar Bowl. I would love to, actually. But we are going to be leaving for Las Vegas. Our flight leaves at like 8:30 in the morning Friday. So I think we'll be up and out of the house at like 6. So Friday or Thursday is just going to be like packing and getting ready to go and getting in bed as soon as that game ends. You know what would be interesting? Well, what'll be interesting is, remember, the portal opens midnight Eastern Friday, which is 11 p.m. Central. So actually, like that Sugar Bowl game will probably be ending around like 11-ish. So like by the time the Sugar Bowl ends, the portal will be open and you may start to get some formalities like before you go to sleep Thursday night. With all being said, who do you think the top target is besides Chambliss? Well, the one I've told you, I mean, I don't mind repeating the ones I've told you. So provided he gets an extra year of eligibility and goes in the portal, Chambliss would be at the top of the list. Watkins, the receiver from Ole Miss, Kawan Lacey, the place kicker, Conyeros is also on the list. But it's like, do you want to spend $400K for a place kicker? I mean, maybe. You know, it's And then there was another one. God, I should have written that name down. Those are just like the Ole Miss guys that I know that they would be targeting if they go in the portal. And I do believe they have deals done already with offensive linemen to come in. I don't have names for you. I wish I did. I would have already broken it. But I don't. I will continue to effort that. However, I think they are internally working really hard to keep their board close to the vest, similar to like a draft board. You never want to tip your hand. You never want to let other teams know what you're thinking and prioritizing, because then they can use that information as leverage against you. So they're working very hard to keep that close to the vest. It's noon. I got to go. What are we doing? Been hanging out here it's been a busy morning. Hour plus long morning Scone. I've already done a bonus locked on today. Wrote the Harlem Barry news. Anyway. So we have been to STK in New York. Not been to the STK in Vegas, but been to one, been to all of them. Yeah. Hey, but no, I just brought that home yesterday. That's that shirt that actually, because the other one I have is an XL. That's a large. It fits me now. It's a Parish shirt. Okay, by the way, Parish Construction Roofing, 527 watching. Please do me a favor, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, Facebook, like the page, share the post. Again, if you need a roof, we'd love to help you out. Let me post Parish in the chat if I could. Especially, we are working really hard to grow. Our big time growth initiative for 2026 with Parish is New Orleans. We have a physical office in New Orleans. One of our partners, Joe Morales, like one of the owners of the company, it's Tilly, Terrio, me, and Joe. Joe lives in River Ridge, and we have boots on the ground every day in New Orleans, and we're growing New Orleans. I just don't know that there's enough people in New Orleans who know that we do work in New Orleans and are there every day. So we would love to help you out. Parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Do business with somebody, Parish Construction Roofing, parishbuilt.com. All right. When next we speak, it will be 2026. How about that? A new year. 2025 went by fast, didn't it? Y'all think 2025 went by fast? I think so. Feels like it went by fast. Anyway. All right. If anything else breaks, I'll drop another locked on bonus episode at some point today. Certainly got to do a show on the James Cregg news. Anyway. Yeah, it'll be great. Be safe, man. If you are hanging out for New Year's Eve, y'all just keep. David, you just won't let me leave. Latest on the radio station, Nola. So, I think we will have fingers crossed, knock on wood. I think we'll have a solution in the springtime. One way or another. God willing, the creek don't rise. But we are very, very, I can't begin to tell you how much of a focus that is for Guarantee Media, getting ESPN on back in New Orleans. and has been almost a year and a half now. And is just know that it's not something we're taking lightly. Like it is you know what? I should have done this. Dag nabbit. Should have my Parish logo up there the whole time. Or the Brock logo. Well, it's kind of getting washed out. Anyway. I got to go.